one of the things as signing statements became really interesting last year, but they were always interesting as more and more people started paying attention to them. Obviously, there were a few political scholars who were paying attention to them all along, and they were very prescient. Was, well, what's actually happening? Is this just chest beating? I could do this if I want to, but he's not actually following through and not obeying these laws? Or is it, in the most interesting ones were all involving national security, and there's no way for us to independently know what the, is someone being tortured or not? I don't know. So this last year, the Government Accountability Office, at the request of the now Democratic Senate, did a study of 19 of the 1,100 laws that Bush's signing statement did, and they were sort of all different types. None of them had to do with national security, so there were sort of more tame examples. But just to begin to understand, when you peel back what's happening in the executive branch, are these being obeyed or not? And they found that 3 had not been triggered by circumstances, so the law, it's unclear whether the law, what happened, because the law never had to be enforced. Of the 16 that were, 10 were obeyed as written, despite the fact that Bush had challenged them, but 6 were not. And these are small things. Like there was a law that said in the Tucson sector, the immigration and police who look for illegal immigrants had to move their checkpoints every couple days because evidently they were getting lazy and sitting in one spot, right. And illegal immigrants from Mexico were just sort of knowing to avoid that spot. And the local congressman was annoyed and passed this law saying, in my role as regulating the executive branch, in Congress's role, this has to be changed. And Bush put a signing statement on it that said, that law will be viewed as advisory only because I decide how to deploy troops and I decide how to deploy immigration agents. And the GAO found, in fact, they just sat there. They did not move around at all, as the law said they did, and they went there and they asked, how come you're not moving? And the answer was, well, this law is merely advisory. And it used the answer from the agency used the same language as the signing statement. So that was a strong sign that these things are, in fact, having an impact. There was another one just now that there was a law Congress passed that said, if you were born in Jerusalem and you become a U.S. citizen, your passport has to be stamped that you were born in Israel, which of course is a disputed issue. Is Jerusalem part of Israel or not? And Bush put a signing statement on it saying, I have exclusive control of foreign affairs, so the State Department will not enforce this law. And that was a rare case where someone actually had standing to sue. So someone who had been born in Jerusalem and wanted his passport to say Israel sued, and just last week, a federal judge threw the case out and said, this is a political question, and you guys have to decide it for yourself. And of course what that means is the executive branch wins because it has the first mover advantage. Right. It does something, and unless Congress is going to go to war, right. And impeach the president, right. They win, and they're not going to impeach Bush over whether someone's passport says Israel or not. Right. And so they're real. Yeah.
This excerpt is brought to you by the Massachusetts School of Law, the leader of reform in legal education and a leader in multimedia education for the public. To view the full interview and for a full listing of MSL's programs, log on to mslaw.edu.